the podcast for the Treasure Coast. With breaking news.
The latest tech. With scripture and devotionals added in at times.
The only podcast on the Treasure Coast, that brings you breaking news, along with anything tech, with edited reading or commenting on scripture, and a devotional at times. Welcome to Treasure Coast's real-time podcast.
And we do welcome you to our podcast today. We thank you once again for listening. This is James Powell, the RTN, the real-time news podcast of the Treasure Coast, where we bring you real news, real tech, talking about a real God. Most of the time we bring you the news, and we do toss in tech, but we always end the show, trying to end the show with the scripture and letting you know that we are conservative. We believe in our God, and that we serve only one God, and He is a true God. We read the Bible. It's a real, live, living Word. I do have my Trump hat on today, and you that are watching our episodes on our YouTube channel, we appreciate that. And we are also letting you know that we are taking interviews. We are scheduling interviews. We've started getting some response back, but we are trying to interview pastors, pastors' wives, laymen, and even business owners of how this quarantine has affected you, how your worship has changed by worshiping online. Of course, we're getting to the part where we know that states are opening up and there are churches that are opening up. But how did it affect you? And how has it changed your worship? So if you'd like to contact me, James at jjmediaonline.net, please contact us, and we would like to talk with you. So, but again, my name is James Powell, host of this podcast. We are looking forward to bringing you news today. We are actually going to be talking about a bill that Ted Cruz has approached about stripping some power from Pelosi. We're looking at we're going to be playing some audio, be playing a part of Glenn Beck's video that he posted, and we're just going to be touching on a few different things. So we welcome you to the podcast, and we hope that you will just join our sponsors. And if you are needing emergency supply of food, please go to jjmediaonline.net/my Patriot Supply. That's jjmediaonline.net/my Patriot Supply. And we appreciate those that support our sponsors, Peter's Lawn Services, and my Flamin Hot Ads. So we're going to go ahead and go to the computer, and we'll go ahead and start on these articles, and then we'll come back and end the show with the verse of the day and stuff. So, all right, there it is. Let me go ahead. I always pull this up. I'll go ahead and you that are watching on our YouTube channel, as I always say, gets to see the articles as I go through them. And of course, with every episode, we do have the article links in the show notes, and if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you will be able to click below. And we actually have our sponsors and the links in the episode show notes. So we invite you to go to those show notes and click click those links. So, all right, we are heading into the waning days of this pandemic, so-called pandemic, and this is talking about the article that I'm thinking and looking at right now is titled Senator Cruz urges GOP to take emergency funding reins away from Speaker Pelosi. And you know as well as I do, Speaker Pelosi has really loved this pandemic because she has held off funding for the different ones, and she has really seemingly enjoyed the power that she has, and which is a little scary, to be honest, because she has actually she's actually held off funding and trying to get more and more governmental control. But this article, as Ted Cruz states, as the House ready to vote on a Senate passed $484 billion coronavirus phase 3.5 package, Texas Senator Ted Cruz rallied GOP congressmen to stop Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi from controlling funding negotiations on a Phase 4 emergency relief package. Cruz confirmed that he had spoken up in the Senate asking GOP members to pause on the spending. And here it is. Today, he made 3 points to my colleagues. First, urged my colleagues, this is Cruz speaking, colleagues to push pause on the spending and not allow Nancy Pelosi to hijack discussions on the path forward. Secondly, I made it clear, Cruz says, that Congress should not be bailing out physically irresponsible states on the backs of taxpayers in more physically prudent states, but instead should provide additional flexibility for states to use funds they've already received on law enforcement. And he added, and finally, we need to grow our way out of this crisis by cutting taxes and lifting regulations, specifically calling for every regulation that was waived during this crisis to continue being waived once the pandemic is defeated. So to me, that is very, very important. And it's one of those things that I think we ought to remember. We ought to remember what our representative did during this pandemic. And of course, they're calling it a pandemic, but there is several things that's really coming to light, that how much this is leaning more and more toward a big hoax from the CDC, from the World Health Organization, and to remember that this is very important in November. Remember what your representative did for your local area. And let me just kind of go into a little discussion there. Okay, think of your governor. What did your governor do for your local state? What did your local officials do for your local state? What did your mayor try to push? Were they power hungry, or did they allow you to, even though there was suggested stay at home, or was the order kind of like a dictator? You stay at home, and if you can't get out, you're going to get arrested. Your church, were you in the part of the country where your church was targeted? Were you targeted locally? Remember that in November. I'm telling you, it is time. There is a groundswell of people who are remembering what our liberties are. So I know this has nothing to do with this package that Cruz is talking of, but I think this kind of alludes to how power hungry the Democrats are. So that's that. Go ahead and click on that link. Next, we're gonna talk of the President Trump's approval rating, and I did state I do have my Trump hat on. I believe he has been doing a good job. He has the focus on what the country needs. But Trump's approval rating hits all-time high support from independents, surges to best ever figure. President Donald Trump's approval rating hit an all-time high, the article states, in a new Gallup survey, as support from independents and surges despite the ongoing coronavirus. Gallup released its latest presidential job approval survey on Friday, which would have been May 1st, showed 47% of independents endorsed Trump's job performance in the White House. This was up from 39% approval on April and is the highest mark Trump has received from independents during his presidency. So there is 39% to 47%. So an 10%, 49. My math isn't very good. 8% jump. So, and this is on Gallup poll, and I have been hearing from the kind of the back channels way is the approval rating isn't really still the true approval rating. It's much, much higher. So the overall Trump received a 49% approval from all respondents, which matches his all-time high in mid-March. So think of this. The media and even some of Fox News is very negative. Drudge Report hates Trump. There are a lot of never Trumpers. So Trump is still maintaining a higher approval rating. So I really truly believe that his approval rating is very high. Much, much higher. I would predict it's probably in the upper 50s, low 60s. That's just my prediction. Okay, Trump's approval rating surged 6 points since the last Gallup presidential job approval survey from 2 weeks ago. There was 47% who disapproved of Trump. The poll found that 93% of Republicans approved of the job Trump has been doing versus 8% of the Democrats, obviously. Americans are split straight down the middle when asked if Trump is handling the COVID-19 pandemic correctly. Gallup found that 50% approval of Trump's handling on the coronavirus situation, down 10% from last month's poll. Well, think of this. The bottom line is the media has not been giving Trump a fair shake. Think of if you have heard any of the press conferences, think of the gotcha questions. All the press is trying to do is give Trump gotcha questions. That's it. That's the bottom line. They keep trying to grab that gotcha question, and they give a negative twist and a negative turn to all of it. So, the fake news, CNN, MSNBC, or DSNBC, shall we say. All right, this next article is about Ilhan Omar, however you want to pronounce her name, pulled off the worst string of felonies committed by a congressperson in U.S. history. The media has buried some big stories, but nothing compares to their doing with Rep. Omar, Democrat, Minnesota. But one reporter has never stopped looking into what no one else seems to want to touch: the facts. The journalist is writing a series of exclusive stories from theblaze.com called The Case Against Omar. He joined Glenn Beck on the radio program to talk about this. And this is the media part that I want to play for you. And I want you to listen to this and just see what you think. And you listen to it, and we'll
Ilhan Omar, Omar. Ilhan Omar.
So Ilhan Omar is in the news. She has introduced legislation to cancel rent and mortgage payments during the pandemic. But she's also in the news for paying her husband's firm $1 million by the end of the year. The husband is a completely different story. This is her now third marriage, I believe, and that brings us. I'm good. I'm glad to hear that you're healthy and that you are. You're not flinching or shying away from the truth on this Ilhan Omar, although you must feel completely alone, David.
Well, I wouldn't say that because the reach on Twitter has been fantastic. Within the local Minnesota community of Somali voters, just if you visit, local Facebook sites, local message boards, I'm also getting tremendous support there. It's
from
really
the Somali community.
Yes. Now, as you know, one person did actually come forward, and he gave his name, the person who was the original source on this 4 years ago. And he does also run a pretty popular Facebook site, message board. He does some videos. And I'm getting wonderful support over there in public. Privately, I also have plenty of support. And talking with others within the community there. It just, you really nailed it by comparing this to how the media is tap dancing around the Joe Biden evidence at this point. If that seems like a farce to you, the Biden evidence, is not enough to get a warrant. Look at Ilhan Omar and look, it's like everybody on earth has figured this out, except the entire journalism profession. Is there anybody left who does not understand this?
And you lay out the case in part one. You lay out the case of her marriage fraud that you say is now verified and provable. That she was married to her brother for a while, and it was all for money and power and
beyond a farce at this point. It's just been 4 years of this, and not a peep.
So why isn't the federal government doing anything about it? I mean, these are federal crimes. Where do we stand with the DOJ? Is there any interest in this? How's this possible, David?
Sure. Well, yeah, I did discuss that earlier at the Blaze in January. Now, I would say whatever had been going on that was stalling this with law enforcement, the situation has changed. I have been in direct contact with the FBI on this. I can tell you for a fact.
Okay, I am back, and I decided to that was going on a little bit too long, but Glenn Beck interviews the author of this article. So just go to the article, click in the link, and it's the David Steinberg. Click in the link and get the article, and go ahead and listen to it yourself. So what I want to do is I do want to take a break and or switch to the 4-week emergency food supply. Go to jjmediaonline.net/mypatriotsupply. That's jjmediaonline.net/mypatriotsupply. They offer 4-week emergency food supply. They offer long-term food storage, short-term bulk number 10, special emergency food kits, fruit and vegetable kits, meat and protein kits, gluten-free options. Also, Franklin's Finest Coffee. They offer survival items, survival gear, cooking gear, power and lighting stoves, fuel and lighters, first aid and medical, the water filtration system, and so make sure you go to jjmediaonline.net/mypatriotsupply. Also, if you live in the Hobe Sound Stuart, Florida area, make sure that you call for your lawn services, R.W. Peters Lawn Services, or go to their website, peterslawnservicesfl.com, and make sure that you actually call them. You can actually call them at 740-710-2031. That's 740-710-2031. 740-710-2031. Or you can email Brian at peterslawnservicesfl.com. That's Brian at peterslawnservicesfl.com. And you can actually click the link in the episode and find out more about them. Or if you're watching on our YouTube channels, that you can actually see their website on the YouTube channel. And we do invite you to go to our YouTube channel in the description of this podcast and click on it and subscribe to that from our podcast and subscribe to our channel. So I'm going to, before I go to the last section here, I want to come back on the camera here. For those of you that are watching, I do just want to say a thank you, a personal thank you for watching, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on our social media channels, and you that are listening to the podcast, please go below. Follow us on our social media channels, and we are actually fleshing out our social media channels and going to our social media channels, and we're looking at building a website. I create websites, so I'm getting ready to get a domain name and look at kind of switching everything I do over to podcasting, and everything will go from I'll keep the jjmediaonline.net domain name, but I'm looking at really fleshing out the podcasting and then doing some live Facebook videos and YouTube channel videos too. So I want to thank you. I want to personally thank you for listening, subscribing, and joining us. So, all right, I'm going to transition back over for those of you that are watching online. I'm going to transition back over. I did have the Glenn Beck show pulled up, and that interview. In fact, I'll just go back to that and see how this is a little bit shorter of an interview, and we'll play that again. And that's what my full intention was to do. So let's go back to the interview, and I will play that.
Congressman, talk.
They're going to be
What they should expect in their grocery stores soon.
Well, you're going to see shortages, and these aren't going to be temporary shortages. You're being assured in the news that the factories that process this meat will open right back up and there'll be no problems. But here's the real problem. They're aborting piglets right now. They're causing the sows to abort. And so the animals that would be going into the pipeline, that would be showing up in your supermarket in a couple months, aren't being born. So it's not just a problem at the processor now. The farmers are responding rationally to their concerns that they'll have to euthanize more hogs. By the way, there are slaughter-ready hogs that are being euthanized, shot, destroyed,
and
buried.
Same with cattle. If it's not happening on a mass scale, it probably will be happening on a mass scale, to where they're just chickens, cattle. They can't process them. And so they have to kill them and bury them. And this is not good.
That's right. It's already, it happened a few weeks ago with chickens. It's happening with hogs this week. We've got more leeway, a lot more leeway in the cattle market. By the way.
All right. We are back again. And that was actually Thomas Massey talking about there is truly going to be a meat shortage, and there are going to be issues that we are going to have. So be thinking of that. That's why we are pushing the emergency supply, My Patriot Supply. Let me just go back to that and go to jjmediaonline.net/mypatriotsupply. Click the link in the description. You can get your 4-week emergency food supply along with several other options, and they do have a buy now, pay later. All right, before we go to our verse for this episode, we want to let you know about Flamin Hot Ads. If you are in the Florida area and wanting to advertise with this pandemic going on, you can actually, with the carryouts being pushed, we give you an opportunity. FlaminHotAds.net. Of course, then I say I am part of this, but FlaminHotAds.net. You can literally put your advertisement, and those of you that are on the YouTube channel watching this, you see this video or this picture. You can actually put your advertisement on a carry-out tray. So what we ask you to do is call the 833 ads to go. 833 ads to go. Here we are. There's Paul Carroll, Melissa, and there is myself. I'm the media director for Flamin Hot Ads. Go to their website, FlaminHotAds.net. That's FlaminHotAds.net. You can also become a preferred customer, get a deal with being a preferred customer, and if you are a restaurant and want to distribute our containers, you can contact us and we can help you out. You get free containers. Our advertisers pay, and you get free containers. And we do have a list of where we distribute. As you see, those that are watching this on our YouTube channel, you see the list of restaurant containers or restaurant distributors. But you can call 833 ads to go to become a part to advertise your business and literally get your business ad into the hands of your potential customers. And what actually happens is in this pandemic, carryout is the big thing. There's a lot of carryout trays going out. So call Flamin Hot Ads today. All right, we are ending our episode today with the random Bible verse of the day. It is Psalms 107:9. Psalms 107:9. For he satisfieth the longing soul and filleth the hungry soul with goodness. That's Psalms 107:9. If you don't know Christ, he is there. You can know him, and I just encourage you to call out to Christ today. He knows where you're at. He knows what you need, and he is reaching out for you. And one of the great things about this is, with all this quarantine that has gone on, I have seen several churches, several pastors do Facebook Lives, do services, do scriptures, do devotionals. God is listening, and there are pastors that are reaching out. There's been more pastors on my Facebook. I've just seen all kinds of devotionals, and it's really, really encouraged me that churches are using technology. So thank you for listening to this episode. Click our links below, connect with us, and we will see you on the next podcast and video. Thank you again for listening, and we look forward to connecting.